I grew up with memories of a very different Brazil. Sleepless nights watching Ronaldo, the phenomenon, tear apart opposition defenses. Mornings in awe of Rivaldo's exquisite assists. And, of course, unforgettable moments when Ronaldinho left the world stunned with his dazzling smile and sheer magic. That was my Brazil, our Brazil, a team where every match felt like a feast of the extraordinary. Now, watching Vinicius Junior struggle to find his way into the box, seeing Rodrigo running aimlessly like a soulless machine, and Rafinha repeatedly passing to no one, I can't help but ask, is this really Brazil? Vinicius Junior is no longer just the €150 million star of Real Madrid. He has risen to become one of the best players in the world. 2024 was a perfect year for him, with 32 goals and 18 assists in 55 games across all competitions. From a young boy in São Gonçalo, once a symbol of Brazil's poverty, to standing at the pinnacle of world football, Vinicius Junior's journey is nothing short of remarkable. He recently delivered a stellar performance, leading Real Madrid to a commanding 5-1 victory over RB Salzburg at the Santiago Bernabeu. The Brazilian star scored a brace, underscoring his critical role in Real Madrid's quest to defend their Champions League crown. His first goal was a masterpiece of movement and precision, making a perfectly timed run to latch onto a slicing through ball from Luka Modric, breezing past Salzburg's defense and cutting inside to unleash a thunderous strike into the top corner. But Vinicius wasn't done yet. His second goal was pure brilliance, dribbling past two defenders with dazzling footwork before calmly slotting the ball past the goalkeeper. Every touch he made exuded the finesse and class of a world-class player. And let's not forget Rodrigo, whose sharpness and intelligence were equally impressive. He opened the scoring with a quick and opportunistic finish, capitalizing on a defensive error with clinical precision. His second goal was the result of excellent chemistry with Jude Bellingham, combining in a perfect 1-2 that left the defense helpless. Rodrigo's composure and accuracy in decisive moments allowed Real Madrid to dominate the game and secure a convincing victory. Meanwhile, Rafinha is crafting the brightest chapter of his career, establishing himself as a potential contender for the 2025 Ballon d'Or. At 28, the Brazilian forward has not only reached his peak, but has also shattered his own limits, with performances worthy of a true leader. So far this season, he has scored 22 goals and provided 8 assists across all competitions, including 11 goals in La Liga and 8 in the Champions League. The numbers speak volumes about his extraordinary form and unrelenting drive.
Khoảnh khắc Rafinha ghi bàn quyết định trong trận đấu kịch tính tại Dallas trước Benfica đã trở thành một biểu tượng cho bản lĩnh của anh. Phút bù giờ thứ 6 khi tất cả dường như đã kiệt sức, anh vẫn đủ tốc độ, thể lực và sự lạnh lùng để vượt qua hậu vệ đối phương, tung cú dứt điểm hoàn hảo ấn định chiến thắng 5-4 cho Barcelona. Đó không chỉ là một bàn thắng, mà còn là một tuyên ngôn về khả năng của một siêu sao luôn tỏa.
It wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. A declaration of his ability to shine as a superstar when his team needed him the most. And we can't overlook the phenomenon that is Matheus Cunha in the Premier League. During Wolverhampton's 2-0 Boxing Day victory over Manchester United, Cunha showcased his versatility, proving he is far more than just a traditional striker. Operating as a creative number 10, a deep-lying playmaker, and even stepping into a left-wing role under manager Victor Pereira, Cunha has transformed his game. He's not only elevated his individual performance, but has also become a source of inspiration for the entire Wolverhampton squad. Why have these stars become so ineffective when wearing the Brazil jersey? The national team seems to be losing its identity in its effort to Europeanize its style of play. Watching Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo move in organized rhythmic patterns feels precise yet overly mechanical, lacking the flair that once defined Brazilian football. It's hard not to long for the improvisation of Ronaldinho or the moments of madness from Romario. Those were the hallmarks of Brazil's DNA, where the line between football and art blurred. Looking back at history, every time Brazil won the World Cup, there was a clear talisman to carry the team. In 1970, it was Pelé. In 1994, Romario. And in 2002, Ronaldo. If the team doesn't build itself around Neymar, dreaming of victory is futile. Until they recognize that Neymar is the player who makes the difference, Brazil will continue to falter. Neymar's absence due to injury is undoubtedly a massive blow. But Brazil's greatness has never relied solely on one individual. When Pelé was brutally fouled out of the 1962 World Cup, Garrincha and Amarildo stepped up to carry the team. When Romario couldn't participate in the 1998 World Cup, Ronaldo rose to the occasion with brilliance. Brazil has always found a new hero in its darkest moments. Yet today, we have the most expensive attacking lineup in history, and they've gone 270 minutes without scoring a single goal. A galaxy of stars, but none shining. A world-class squad, but not a single memorable moment. I can still vividly recall Neymar sobbing after Brazil's crushing 2014 World Cup exit. At the time, it felt like rock bottom. But no, Brazil seems to be sinking even deeper. From the humiliating 7-1 loss to Germany, to the quarter-final exit at the 2022 World Cup, and now this embarrassing streak of goal droughts. Carlo Ancelotti is set to take over Brazil in mid-2025 after leaving Real Madrid, or so it seems. Then again, maybe not, as he recently stated his desire to extend his contract with Real until 2029. But if not Ancelotti, who can Brazil count on? If he can help Vinicius, Rodrigo and Rafinha rediscover the joy of playing football rather than simply adhering to rigid tactics, he could be the perfect fit. Of course, strict systems aren't Ancelotti's philosophy. His football is anything but mechanical. Yet, can an entire footballing nation place its hopes on a coach who will be 65, nearing 66? Sometimes I wonder if this is the price Brazil pays for exporting too many young talents to Europe. Players like Vinicius and Rodrigo left Brazil too early, shaped in European academies with philosophies far removed from Brazil's. They've become exceptional players, no doubt. But perhaps they've lost the madness, the unpredictability that once defined Brazilian football. The Maracanã is still there, but the fans' chants no longer carry the same joy. The yellow and green flags still wave, but they seem to lack the pride they once held. We still love Brazil, and we still believe in Brazil, but it's impossible not to feel heartbreak as we watch our team slowly lose its identity. Perhaps it's time for Brazil to embrace a true revolution, not to become more like Europe, but to rediscover itself, to ensure that players like Vinicius, Rodrigo and Rafinha are not just expensive stars, but genuine artists on the pitch. To revive Jogo Bonito as not just a beautiful memory, but a vibrant living reality. Because Brazil isn't just a football team, it's a dream, an inspiration, a way of life with the ball. And dreams should never die. Looking ahead, Brazil faces critical matches against Paraguay, Chile, and Ecuador. Every game now feels like a final, where another loss could push the Seleção into an unprecedented crisis in World Cup qualifying. It's unthinkable to imagine Brazil, the only team to participate in every World Cup since 1930, missing out on the 2026 tournament. There is hope, though. Andrick joined Real Madrid in 2024. Hailed as the new beacon of Brazilian football, he's already made his debut, and the young prodigy shows flashes of the brilliance Brazil has missed since Ronaldo's era. But is it fair to place such a heavy burden on someone so young? Andrick is still just a boy, not the singular answer to Brazil's woes. He looks lost at times in the number 9 role for the national team. Beyond him, there's André, Chomé, and a rising generation of Brazilian talents who possess the skill and technique to shine. But will they be allowed to play the Brazilian way, or will they be boxed into yet another European-style system? There are nights when I find myself watching classic Brazil matches from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, overwhelmed by emotion. That was football that captivated the world, inspiring generations of players. Socrates once said, "Beautiful football is when you make it an art." But when did Brazil lose that artistry? Perhaps it's time to reevaluate the entire youth development system. Instead of chasing the European model, Brazil could forge its own path, a system where skill and creativity are cherished as core values, where young players are encouraged to express their individuality instead of being forced into rigid molds. I still believe in a day when Brazil will return, not as a replica of European football, but as its authentic self. A Brazil where every match is a blind bag of surprises, unpredictable yet always memorable. On the defensive side, Brazil lacks the depth of successors to legends like Thiago Silva and Dani Alves. However, this is not the team's biggest issue. With solid options like Marquinhos, Éder Militão, and Alisson Becker providing stability in goal, the defense still has the foundation to compete at the highest level. What needs addressing is the lack of cohesion and mutual understanding among the defenders. While this is an area that must improve, it is not the primary reason for Brazil's struggles. The core issue with Brazil's current national team lies in the midfield, historically the heartbeat of their play. Names like Lucas Paqueta, Bruno Guimarães, and Andreas Pereira are performing in top leagues. But when donning the yellow jersey, they often fall short of expectations. Frankly, they are not yet considered world-class players. This trio struggles to build cohesion and control against stronger opponents, leading to a lack of balance across the lines. Without a true anchor like Casemiro of the past, Brazil faces difficulties in constructing play from the back and transitioning to attack. This disconnect hampers the front line, forcing stars like Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo to operate in isolation, unable to exert significant pressure. If Brazil does not address the structure and philosophy of their midfield, they risk remaining stuck in a cycle of frustration, even with world-class talents in attack. What Brazil needs now is not just individual brilliance, but someone who can unite these players into a cohesive team. A coach willing to innovate, trust the squad, and break away from old limitations. With the right guidance, this team has all the makings of a renaissance. Vinicius is at the peak of his career, Rafinha is enjoying an unprecedented rise in form, and Matheus Cunha is maturing into a reliable forward. Properly utilized, Brazil could write a new chapter in their storied history. Perhaps at the 2026 World Cup, we'll once again witness the vibrant Samba on the pitch, not as solo acts of brilliance, but as a harmonious symphony of talent. After all, this is Brazil, where dreams never die and miracles always find a way. Brazilian football history has shown that after every period of decline, a new era of prosperity emerges. Brazilian football isn't just about Samba flair. There were times when pragmatism took center stage, such as during Carlos Dunga's era in the early 1990s, when practicality replaced artistry. But from this sun-soaked South American land, new stars inevitably rise, carrying the unmistakable DNA of Brazilian football. Perhaps we are currently in one of these cyclical downturns, and with talents like Endrick maturing, who can say the 2026 World Cup won't mark Brazil's resurgence? Brazil, after all, is a land where dreams never die, and miracles always seem within reach. Looking back at history, Brazil has always needed a commanding star. Pelé, Zico, Romario, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and more recently, Neymar. These players were not just extraordinary talents, but also the soul of the team, orchestrating the tempo, dictating the rhythm of matches, and carrying the team in its most challenging moments. Vinicius Junior, despite his dazzling dribbles that leave the world in awe, still lacks the game-reading ability and composure of a true leader. Rafinha, though in brilliant form at Barcelona, has yet to prove himself as a decisive force in major matches. Meanwhile, Rodrigo, with his natural talent, still seems to be searching for his optimal role in the Brazilian squad. Perhaps, instead of endlessly comparing these players to legends of the past, it's time to embrace a different perspective. Maybe Brazil doesn't need another Neymar, but a completely reimagined approach to attacking football, one where leadership is shared among several stars, much like Barcelona's evolution in the post-Messi era. Brazil's DNA remains intact, waiting for a spark to ignite the passion once again. And when that flame is lit, the fire of Brazilian football could burn brighter than ever, reminding the world why it fell in love with the beautiful game in the first place. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you love football content and want to explore more fascinating stories with us, don't forget to hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. Your subscription is a huge motivation for us to deliver even better content. Thank you so much. Football